No, I'm 49 years old, and when I was 13 I was involved in a motor vehicle accident and sustained a spinal cord injury at C6 level, and obviously since that time I've had the injury and the disability, and that's about the extent of it.
Can you briefly outline what you can and can't move for the students?
Yeah, sure. At C6 level I've got very good wrist extension on my left hand side. It's not quite as good on my right hand side. I don't have any flexion. That what you see me doing there is what we call a trick movement. So it's all
flipping.
What is it? Mirrors and smoke and mirrors or whatever. But yeah, so no, I can't lift my wrists up from that position. So no finger movement. I've got no sensation from that level down, and no movement from that level down.
And you can bend your elbows, but you can't
can bend my elbows, straighten my elbows, but I don't have use of my triceps, because if I try to put my hand up in the air, I lose it.
But you have reasonably good shoulder
movement, yep.
So it's a good summary.
Full neck and head control.
Okay, excellent.
And this works very well too.
Very good. Wendy, do you mind telling us a bit about your hand function and how you manage with your hands?
I can get a glass of water. All those fairly basic sort of things I'm able to do, but not as you would do them. I can't do a lot with this hand. My left hand's quite good though.
And can you just explain how you use a keyboard?
Yeah, I've got to do my little finger twist here. I actually do one finger typing, and if I can get my fingers in the right position, I'll show you. If I get my hand into that position, I'm able to hit with the keys on a keyboard. Yeah. And that position actually comes in very handy for turning pages of books, pulling something towards me, looping into a mug or a handle on a mug or a cup. Yeah.
And is there anything you can't do with your hands that you really notice and miss?
Play the piano. I used to play the piano before my accident, yeah. So things like that, just those where you need full use of your whole 10 fingers, I can't do.
And just moving on, in terms of implications for moving in bed, how do you manage with that?
Right, I need 100% assistance to get in and out of bed. Once I'm in bed, the position I'm in when I'm left of an evening is where I stay until morning.
Who puts you to bed? How does that work?
I have assistance from the Home Care Service of New South Wales, and they come in each evening around 9:30, but that's sort of negotiable. If I'm going out or I'm extra tired, or if I'm feeling unwell, I can ring and get them to come a bit earlier if needs be. They come here and they assist me into bed. I get an hour to help me into bed. It doesn't take an hour to get into bed, but it's just not getting into bed. It's putting clothes away, getting me a final drink, you know, all those sort of things, helping me get my clothes ready for the next morning. And
then they come back again in the morning?
They come back again at about 6:15 each morning, not on weekends, but Monday to Friday. And they help me out of bed, into the shower, help me shower, toilet, dress, groom, and then assist with some food preparation of a morning.
Wendy, do you mind telling us a bit about your situation at home?
At home here, well, I live in your typical 4-bedroom brick house in the suburbs. I live with my husband and my 2 children, 17 and 14, both boys. And yeah, we're fairly typical in lots of ways to, you know, my neighbours and any other family in the street, except Mum's got a disability, and we work our way around that. Yeah.
And do you work, Wendy?
Yes, I work. Always work 2 days a week, sometimes 3, in a paid position. But the rest of my week is filled with all the activities that my children do or my husband does, and things that are of interest to me.
And when the kids were little, how did you manage?
Again, what happened was my husband took time off work, and he was the chief carer, so he was their hands-on dad, hands-on person that helped them. He did all the physical chores with the kids, and then I did all the organising. I was the story reader and that sort of stuff. Anything I could do, I concentrated on doing well with my children. It was probably once I got outside the home that the disability impacted. So we were talking about things that the local school wasn't accessible. It didn't have wheelchair access. So, for example, we had to do our parent-teacher interviews in the playground rather than the classroom, because there was a set of 6 steps to get up into the classroom. Issues like that, issues with access, issues in regard to reactions from the general public and how they sort of saw mum in a wheelchair. Not always friendly or good reactions. As I said, accessing things in the local community weren't all, physical access wasn't always easy. Yeah.
Wendy, do you mind giving the students an overview of what the implications are of your spinal injury on your ability to move?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because I have no movement or sensation from this level down, I rely on a power wheelchair to get around, and it does impact quite severely on your mobility. Obviously, everything's set up in my house for me to access as best I can, but once I get outside my house, I totally rely on other people to get around. So I rely on taxis for mobility. I rely on my husband in our modified vehicle to get around. Other locations in the community where I mobilise, my local shopping centre, is not always accessible, but the bigger Westfield type complexes are accessible. Shopping in my local area, I need to have my husband with me, or someone with me to help me get around the shops there, because there's often little steps to get up to negotiate, and that's a very common occurrence every day. Doesn't matter where I'm going, there's some sort of issue for me to deal with my mobility.
And if there was one thing that you wanted to tell people in terms of the implications of a disability on your life, what do you think has been the key implication of your disability on your life?
Once you've got a disability, there's probably a couple of things that impact on your life and your lifestyle. Is that there's probably a lack of spontaneity. It's very hard to do something spontaneous. So if I was to get a phone call now from a friend who I hadn't seen for a while, and she said, let's catch up with a cup of coffee this afternoon, for her, she'd just get in her car and go to the location where the coffee shop is. I'd have to organise a taxi. I'd have to make sure if I had home care coming at that time, I'd have to ring and reorganise my home care. I'd have to find out whether the coffee shop is accessible. So things like that. A lot of forward planning needs to be done when you have a disability. Yeah.